This is a new experience playing with one of these things with the cord. I'm Judy Reiman, and I'm the program coordinator for office technology at Columbia College. And I teach the traditional office skills. I teach in the medical program, and I'm bringing in a new program that I'm going to tell you about in a little bit for virtual assistants. I've had off and on over 30 years in the classroom. And when I started out, we used something called a typewriter. How many of you know what a typewriter looks like? Okay, and you couldn't make mistakes, or if you did, it cost you a lot, etc., and so forth. And the people that I was training for business answered the telephone, typed up memos, took dictation. You remember, some of you remember this. This is what we used to do. So here I am now teaching office technology, and I'm teaching my students to interact. Communication is the #1 area that we are stressing in our programs out there. And our business community, and I know you're going to relate to this, is requiring that people know how to communicate. And I think Derek was talking about communicating and how important it is, et cetera, and so forth. So we're teaching people how to communicate now, and it's taken precedence over the sit down and take a memo and take shorthand and transcribe it, et cetera, and so forth. So we all know that communication is really, really important, and I'm really impressed with the way the speakers who have come before me are using the social media. I'm very excited about it. In fact, is Daryl around someplace? I was talking with Daryl about a month ago, and I said, I don't know about this tweeting and twittering, et cetera, and so forth, because as I just said, we get a lot of email from our students, and we're rather buried in our email. And how do I have time to use this media? Well, as a result of this and a conference that Ida and I went to in Portland right after graduation, I'm very impressed with the potential, the possibilities, and the marketing that is available out there. So I teach, I think I hold the record for teaching more classes with some sort of an online component than any other instructor out there. My classes fill the page. And I use discussions as a way of getting them to communicate, getting people to put their thoughts down in writing. And people actually will communicate more online than they will face-to-face. That's a phenomena that's going on. You're not going to be looking at me, and I'm not going to be embarrassed by what I say, and you don't know what my face looks like unless I post my picture, etc., and so forth. So it gives a lot of freedom of expression that I think is really wonderful. So I use all of the tools that Melissa mentioned, the blogging, journal. I've tried them all. And my students are very, very receptive in using this. And what I'm doing right now that I really want to talk to you about that I think is exciting is Columbia College is now offering a course to teach people how to work virtually. And we're not talking about just the administrative assistants who used to be on the typewriter and take dictation, et cetera, and so forth. But we're talking about web designers. At the conference that Ida and I went to in Portland, there was a gentleman there who was selling his caps, and he did embroidery and things like that. And he was selling that online. And anything that you can possibly imagine communicating virtually can be done online. So my program is helping, and I think it's really exciting for our community, where jobs are scarce. And I have commuted. I commuted for 13 years in Modesto before I was lucky enough to get to, somebody retired at Columbia College and I got her job. So I know how awful it is to commute, what a waste of time it is. And what's exciting about the virtual office program is that you can learn to do it out of your home. You can be a bookkeeper, you can be a web designer, and a lot of the VAs, coming back to the social media, a lot of the VAs are managing your blogs because you're out there, you're a business owner, and so is a virtual assistant. And a virtual assistant is an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, just as you are. And the virtual assistant can do all of those things for you that you don't want to do, or you don't have time to do, or is taking you away from what is going to build your business and make money for you. And I was reading just in the marketing area that in order to keep your business vital, you need to be spending about 6 hours a week monitoring your social media. Our VAs can do this for you. You find a VA, it's a partnership, it's an arrangement between two professionals, and you find a VA who is good at managing your blogs. And one of the VAs showed me how many clients she was monitoring at one time. And at the beginning of the week, let's say you want to, and I'd have mentioned the silly bands. The silly bands. So you want to put up something else about your silly bands because this is the way you're marketing it. So you contact your VA and say, this is what I want to say. Now you do the work. You put it on Twitter. You tweet it. You use all the other, and there's so many new areas of social media out there that I can't get my head around it yet because they're popping up, I think, minute by minute. So these VAs are spending maybe 15, 20 minutes a day or at a time putting out what you need and feeding back to you the type of responses that you're looking for. It might be a marketing feedback, et cetera, and so forth. So I don't want to take up too much of my time, your time about this and my time, but I'm going to have some flyers over in the break area, and I hope you'll pick up a flyer and tell everybody in the county what we're doing out there at the college and what a tremendous opportunity it is to learn how to set up your own business and let your creativity flow and help one another and keep the jobs in Tuolumne County. Thank you. And Kathy Schultz is going to be our next presenter.
Hi, I'm Kathy Schultz, and I teach in the computer department at Columbia College. I teach a variety of courses, and what's interesting for me is I teach a lot of beginning level students. I have a lot of the courses that people take when they're novices on the computer. And so it's always very interesting to me when we're talking about a lot of these technologies and tools and the various social media and all the different things that people are doing with them. I get a lot of beginning students who have heard these things as well, and maybe they have a business or are trying to decide on a career, and they come in and they want to do all of this, and they want to do it all today. They want to do it immediately, and they, you know, kind of don't even know how to save a file on a USB drive. And so it's always very challenging to find ways to incorporate learning social media into some of those beginning level courses to keep people excited, to keep them finding out about the new technologies, while at the same time addressing the fact that they're truly novices on the computer. As you may be aware, our demographics in this community, we do have an older population than down in the valley, and the students we have at the college reflect that. We often have students that come into the classes who are returning to school, maybe changing careers, and so they're in a little bit different position. We have our students coming right out of high school who have been sort of raised on being in Facebook and using all the social media. So we always have an interesting combination in our courses. And one of the things that we love to do is bring in those folks who have maybe a little bit more life experience and combine them with some of the younger folks who are very knowledgeable about using social media, and see what happens when we put them together on the same project and give them some ideas to use. So I wanted to kind of focus a little bit, and I'm going to try to keep mine short because I see we have someone else who just joined us. One of the things we're really focusing on, just so you know, is improving access, retention, and success for our students. And so when we think about using social media within our courses, whether it's an online course, whether it's a face-to-face course, we're using social media and other tools online to help give access to our students. This year we've had a lot of very unusual weather, and we were able to help our students stay connected to their classes and stay connected to their instructors when they could not make it to campus. And so we use it for that type of access. Keeping students involved helps them engage, as Pastor Mike mentioned earlier. We want them to engage in critical thinking and engage in their communities, and using a variety of online tools helps them do that as well. I think it was Greg earlier mentioned serendipity, and I just want to throw out the concept that we talk about sometimes and use of collateral learning. As teachers, we often go into a situation where we have a game plan in mind, we have some objectives for our students, some outcomes, and that may happen, but what often happens is something totally different. And using social media of all kinds and online tools has really upped the ante in that area. Students experience a great deal of collateral learning outside of what we originally intended to have happen. And that's one of the things that we really value at the college and are encouraging our students to do. So I would like to, because I know she came in just a little bit late, let Kirsten come up and speak a little bit in particular about some of the tools she's using in her online classes to finish up for us. Thank you.